Law of attraction isn't just all woo-woo and spiritual tarot crap. It's also very practical and relevant to everyday life. So today we're going to talk about law of attraction and get a little deeper than what we've talked about before in the past. So Jay, you taught me all about law of attraction, and this is one of the topics that you are like a master at, one of the millions. And we have another video that we did on law of attraction, and we already defined what it is. So I'm going to read the definition that we came up with in the last video. So you said it's creating your own reality or experiencing desired outcomes or achieving your goals. And then you said person A applies themselves somehow to attract a desired experience. So to me, this is like a way more elegant definition of what law of attraction is versus what I found out there on the internet.
Well, it's a practical definition. Like, we are all alive, we're all living our life, and all of us want to create our desired experience or our desired reality. So if everyone's about that and everyone wakes up desperately wanting to create their desired reality, their desired experience, their desired life, and understanding law of attraction and manifestation helps us do that, what's a better definition than that? Law of attraction is the number one path to creating your desired reality.
Agreed. And I think it's a great definition because like I said, I watched the whole episode because I wanted to make sure that this episode is fresh and we're not repeating the same thing. So I thought, wow, that's really super smart. I wonder how many people like complicate what it really is, but because this is beautiful. I'm not surprised though. Okay. So we didn't really talk about how to use manifestation in our business, right? And so we talked a lot about like the reasons you're doing it wrong in that video. And it was a great video. So I have some mental health and business questions in there. I wrote a whole bunch of stuff. So the first question really is there a special way to use law of attraction in your business, or is it just the same with every topic?
So to me, this is like a chef asking, is there a special way to bake a cake, or are all cakes baked the same?
Right.
Or it's like a swimmer asking, is there a special way to cross a lake, or are all lakes crossed the same?
Okay.
What's the answer in both of those cases?
Well, my first reaction was, no, you're just going from point A to point B, right?
Sure. So
ingredients to cake, dry land to the other side of the lake.
Yeah. So sounds like there's no special way when you phrase it like that.
Right. However, upon deeper reflection, there are variables that could make a difference. It takes an hour to make a cheesecake, but it only takes 10 minutes to make some cupcakes or a small cake, right? And so now I don't know. Like, I laughed and was like, oh my God, the pressure. But really, I could answer either way and I'd be right.
Exactly. So the answer is either none or both, or depends on your perspective, like the perspective you're asking from.
Okay. All right. So I have a better question then. Based on that, then maybe my question should be something like, I'm really good at manifesting other than business stuff. I'm so good at manifesting money in other ways. I'm manifesting gifts. I manifest food. I manifest trips and cars and all kinds of stuff. But I haven't been able to manifest I haven't manifested the way I really, really desire to in my business. So is there something I'm doing wrong for that?
Yeah, it's a good question.
Thanks.
So then, doesn't it make sense that if we examined how you go about manifesting gifts and cakes and foods and other things, and then we examined how you go about manifesting business and clients and that kind of thing, there would be some clear differences?
Yes.
So is it the topic that is the issue, or is it your approach to the various topics that determines your manifestation results?
Very good question. The second one you said.
Your approach.
Yeah, my approach. Yes.
Right. So would you say there's significant differences in the way you manifest topics A, B, and C and the way you manifest business?
Yes.
Okay. So what are the differences?
Well, probably my energy is the biggest difference, right? So it's easy for me to manifest gifts and these things because I have the attitude of like, I always get my way, right? Like I always get whatever I want. And that's not like, I feel like I have to put a disclaimer with that. Like it's not because entitlement or anything. It's just my life has been like that things just happen for me super easily, and it's just facts. But for business topics, sometimes, not always, but sometimes it feels hard, or it feels like I have to do things more than I do with the other stuff, right? So to manifest a gift of money from someone else, I don't think about the money or the person. I just think about whatever it is I want the money to bring me, right? And or the experience or the feeling. And then I go about my business and don't think about it anymore. But for business, then like I can't seem to let it go as easily, like the flick of a wrist, the way I can for any other topic, really.
Cool. So it sounds like you've zeroed in on about 3 major differences between your approaches to the topics. You touched on the feeling component, emotional component of business versus other topics. You touched on the action component of like how much action is necessary or you feel obligated to do or something,
right,
in business compared to manifesting other topics. And you mentioned the letting go or energetic aspects of how you approach business versus other topics.
Right.
So don't those 3 differences seem kind of major?
Yes. And just for the audience, this is not how I thought this podcast episode was going to go, y'all. Okay, please continue. When I think he's going to zig, he zags, you guys, every time. Unpredictable reliability. Yes.
Anyway, if you or anyone else says, I manifest so great at this topic and that area of life and this thing and that thing, but I can't do it with such and such, it's fine. Like we all do it. I'm not judging. I've done it.
No, I know.
And so if I've done it, I'm definitely not judging.
Yeah.
But the point is, if somebody does that, it's a safe bet. There's going to be some major differences in their approach to one and their approach to the other things.
Right.
And then when we examine it, like we just did, you identified 3 key areas where your manifestation approach is quite different towards business than it is to gift giving or family things or whatever.
Right.
So wouldn't that be the place to start? Like, wouldn't you say to yourself, man, I need to get those 3 areas to be the same as all my other great manifestation topics?
Yeah. Yes. And I know this is really, we've talked about this off camera before. We talked about it yesterday. Like my energy matters. You sent me an amazing Tony Robbins video that I love, that I've done the like exercise in the video. I know you're right. But still, when I'm like sitting here working on the energy, it's like, is this really going to make that, like, I could be doing the things while I'm focused on instead I'm focused on my energy.
Yeah, but wasn't doing actions one of the issues? Like you were like, I feel like I need to do so many more actions to manifest in business, and I don't need to lift a finger in these other areas, or I do very, very little action and it happens.
Yes.
So aren't you just falling into the trap that's causing you the problems anyways? Like you sit down and you don't take business actions and you're working on your energy and you're going to fix some of these errors. And then you immediately jump to, oh, but I should do more action now instead. Like,
I know.
Isn't that one of the things that needs changed?
Yeah. It's so annoying because I know the thing that needs to be changed, right? And so I sit to do the thing, and then this voice, and I'm doing it, and I'm like, but is this really gonna matter? Like, yes, I know it matters. I know it matters. Jason says this matters. This matters. This matters. I believe him, and I know because of my track record with other things too, not just because you tell me, because I know firsthand. And yet that stupid masculine business voice will say, yeah, but if you go and you could do 25 more messages. You can comment and more right now. If you stop now, you'll have extra time. And it's so stupid. And
sure, isn't it possible that if you skip those 25 messages and focus on your energy, that you get a billionaire client because you're in the right place at the right time with the right headspace, and you said the right words and posted the right thing that got their attention, and I had the algorithm at the right moment, and all of these synchronicities happen, and the universe delivers a huge blessing to you. The same way you get gifts and help from family and all this kind of stuff at the right time without lifting a finger. Why can't that happen in business? Your mind says, if I do 25 more outreach, maybe I'll get that next client. And the universe says, if you skip those 25 outreach, you might get a next billionaire client.
But see, that's the thing.
Who can say which is the correct result?
Well, and the universe has already shown me this. I have literally went onto Reddit and commented on someone's post about music. I didn't talk about our business, our podcast, our nothing. And this girl went and purchased the middle tier of our group sessions, monthly sessions, with her and I not even having a conversation. So yes, this is 100% possible. It's happened to me, and that's just once. It's happened multiple times. Big ticket clients come to us and are like, I need your help.
Yeah. So you can have a voice in your head that says, oh, if you just do extra more work and grind out some more things, that will be the magic that wins for you. So stop the meditation and stop the dancing and get out there and hustle. Or you can have a voice that says, hey, if you give yourself a break and focus on your energy and dance and meditation, you're going to get a big ticket client. And so don't worry about that 25 extra outreach. I don't know what voice is right. I can't tell you, but your heart knows. One of those voices feels crunchy AF. It feels like pressure and obligation and shoulds and gross, and you don't want to do it. And it's the last thing on the planet that's going to help you or serve you. And you're like, no. And the other voice is like, man, that would be a dream. I would love that. That sounds amazing. And so you got to be smart. You got to learn. You got to practice discerning the voices in your mind. Where is this voice coming from? What does it mean? Is it the correct voice? Is it your mom's voice? Is it society's voice? And if you don't know, you got work to do. You can't be a full-grown adult who just never knows the voices in their head and never knows which one's right and which one's wrong, never knows the difference between intuition and societal pressure. You have to learn how to practice and discern the difference between intuition and societal pressure. Otherwise, you run your life mostly on societal pressure, and you can never tell when intuition comes around.
No.
So there are activity levels, there are action levels for everything. Some people absolutely need to get off the couch and hustle more and grind more. Their soul is calling them to get their shit together. Their soul is calling them to buckle down. Their soul is calling them to stop being so selfish and lazy and apathetic and careless. Right?
Right. Yeah.
And so they can sit on the couch and manifest the secret style all day long, and they're not going to get results, because the last thing they need is less activity. They're like zero activity lumps on a log.
Yeah, they ignore inspired action. Yeah.
Sure. But there are some people who absolutely should be taking more breaks and taking more naps and being more gentle with themselves and meditating more and dancing more and working on their energy more and releasing action and stop chasing and stop hustling. Hustling and chasing is not always the solution to get things, and it's not always the best solution to get things. So again, I can't tell a person which box you fall into for which topic at which moment. It's something you have to figure out for yourself. Is it time to get off the couch or get out of bed and get more shit done? Are you inspired to get up and move? Is your intuition telling you it's time to stop doom scrolling and start reaching out to people? Or is it time for you to relax, work on your energy, be more gentle, align your chakras, whatever you call it, vibe higher, dance it out, and enjoy some self-care and follow your intuition to some magic results, right? Like both things are necessary for everyone at certain times, right? The same way we use our left leg and our right leg to navigate through the world. You don't get to just rely on one or the other, and you can't just use one all the time because it's fun or familiar or comfortable.
Well, if you use only one, you're just going in a circle anyway.
Yeah. Well, even if you hop on your left leg over and over, like, okay, great job for you, but this is not the best way to get through life. So you should try another way.
Fair play, yeah.
And the analogy doesn't hold up with the rare few single-legged people, but you get the point. Like,
it's just an example. Yeah, I understand what you're saying.
Yeah.
Well, this is not the first time that we've had this conversation. This is something that I have definitely had a lot of trouble with. I will work on it and then backslide a lot. And like last night I stayed up late to do some stuff, but because it was late, it was more of, this feels good and I want to do this. And I set a goal for myself, and it went well, and it didn't at any time feel hard or like I had to, right? So I'm really aiming for that, so that anytime that whatever I'm doing, that it doesn't feel hard, because this is where I get into trouble. This is when things start to feel hard, that like a normal human would, oh, this feels hard, and they stop. For me, oh, this feels hard, let me go harder, and let me like grind through it, and let me eat all my teeth away while I go through it, but that's not, it's not helping me. This is not serving me. And so I need to back off and be a little more gentle and work on my energy and all that. So yeah, you're right.
Yeah. Most people need to experiment. Most people desperately need to experiment with activity levels in their manifestations. Some people need to experiment with adding more activity. Like, oh, you're scared to ask that girl out, but you want a girlfriend, but you're trying to manifest it, but it hasn't been working. It's like, maybe you should try just taking action a little more. Maybe you should get out there and put yourself out there. It could be a good experiment. The world won't end. Maybe try more action, sir.
Right.
Other people, they're like hustling and grinding and doing more outreach and pushing when it gets hard. And it's like, maybe you should experiment with a little more relaxation and space and slowness and stillness and time and meditation and self-care and stuff like that. Like, maybe if you experiment with that, that's where your good results come from. Or some people are good at both of these things, but they do them at the wrong times. And it's like, if you're hustling from the minute you get up, maybe you should try switching and do your relaxing in the morning and do your hustling later on. Like, I don't understand why people are so against experimenting with their levels of action or levels of activity. There's 8 billion people on the planet. Does it make sense that every single one of them have the exact same energy levels, capacity, battery, predilections, preferences, inclinations, life journey, goals, paths, etc.? And so they all have the exact same activity level?
No, absolutely not.
It's absurd. So Elon Musk has succeeded quite well. I would say he's manifested a significant amount of the things that he dreams of.
Right.
But he seems to like a high level of activity.
Yes.
But I also think Beyonce has manifested a lot of her dreams, or Oprah, maybe more than him. I don't know. But they seem to prefer slightly less activity. Oprah does not seem to be a huge action taker all day long, every day either. Warren Buffett plays bridge and reads all day, and he's got more wealth than all of them put together. And
facts. And
this man is like, yo, I don't want to do any action. I want to push a button or shake a hand and then make my business deal, and there you go.
Yeah.
I want to read a little bit and then manifest the rest. Like, am I going to judge any of these people? No. They all have their life path. They all have their dreams and their desires. They're all manifesting quite well. I'm thrilled for them. But they all have different activity levels, and I wouldn't try to force the activity level of one on the other.
Well, I'll tell you what, last night I sent you a photo of my board, right? When I started working last night, that board had no checks. None. And I'm talking like 10 o'clock at night. And another person would be overwhelmed and be like, oh my God, it's 10 o'clock. Not me. Everybody went to sleep. and the whole house was quiet, and it was like all I could feel with the cat's energies and mine. And I was like, all right, this is perfect. And I just crushed it. I just knocked everything out of the park because it felt that for me, that's how I work.
Great. So 3 hours of activity in the late night, that worked for you. You had a good feeling. You got a lot done. You had the results you wanted. It felt good. You did not feel stressed or drained, and you're happy today. And so there you go. Does that mean you're going to do that every day for the rest of your life? Maybe, maybe not. I don't know.
Right.
Does that mean it's your normal habit? What works for you? Like, it's weird to just jump to a conclusion and say, oh, that's what I'm going to do from now on.
Oh,
but it's a good experiment. And
that's why I brought it up, because it's an experiment. Yeah.
I know. It's a good experiment, and it shows that you followed your intuition and got results. And maybe that was the correct activity level for you that day, that time. And hopefully you follow your intuition to the next correct activity level for the next things you want to manifest. But there are countless people on the planet who are not following their intuition and guidance and inspiration, and they're not aligning their heart, mind, body, and soul on their desires, and they are just jumping into activity levels. They are just following someone else's activity levels. They're just obeying society's pressured activity levels. They have not experimented or discovered with the correct activity levels for them to manifest. Or they do it well in some topics, but then when it comes to another topic like business, they suddenly jump into crazy action and activity levels. And it's like, I don't understand why these people are doing this. I mean, I do. They've been trained to.
Because we're dumb.
But hopefully,
I'm pressured.
Hopefully we can nudge them to discover the power of intuitive inspired action and intuitive inspired activity levels to find one that suits them. Everyone thinks, oh, I just want to be like Warren Buffett and play bridge all day and read and make tons of money. And it's like, that is not what all 8 billion people came to Earth to do. And you might not have his activity level, and that might bore you out of your mind. And your soul might not give you results that way because you never meant to have that. Maybe you're more like Elon Musk, hustling like 160 hours a week, or more likely you're somewhere in between both of them and you're not extreme as either. And so just if you want to manifest well, you really need to get a handle on this action aspect of manifestation. And it's not as cut and dry as take no action or take full action or take massive action or whatever these teachers say. There's an individual balance for everyone on every topic in every moment, and there's guidance available to you and experiments available to you if you're not clear on that.
I love that you mentioned experimenting. And so last night for me, it was an experiment. It'd be easy to say, oh, well, you worked for 3 hours last night and you were super productive. So from now on, you're only working those 3 hours a night. No, no, I don't want to go to bed at 2:00 in the morning every night and have to nap during the day. I don't want to do that. If I feel inspired, yes. And so that inspired action, following that and doing what feels good. I think so many people, me included, we spent so many years being told not to do stuff regardless of how we felt. We were inspired to go outside and play, but it was nighttime and we weren't allowed, or we wanted to ride a red bike, but we didn't have one, or whatever, and so we pushed that feeling down of this is something I want, because I've told people, like, do what you love, do what feels best, and they scoff. Ugh, yeah, right. Like, because they were raised not to do something that feels right. And so even something like staying up late, people will push that down because, oh, I want to stay up late and I want to work when everyone's asleep. Oh, but I'm not supposed to. Oh, I have this or that or whatever. Oh, because we're told from childhood, like, we can't do the things that we love or that feel good to us.
Sure. Everyone on the planet gets to decide if they want to live their life and make their choices based on everything they've been told, or if they want to experiment with life for themselves and see what's what.
Well, if I did what I was told, I would have no life. I would be 100 pounds heavier. I would not be with you, and I would be sacrificing everything and anything for my family, who doesn't really care what I do one way or the other.
Sure. Like I said, everyone has the choice.
Right.
You want to do what you have been told, or do you want to experiment with life for yourself and see what's what?
I want to experiment with life and see what's what.
Yeah, it's the same for everything. If someone tells you to swim this way, you can follow that advice forever, for years to come, unquestioned. Or you can experiment with different strokes and see what's what.
Well, as I'm quite a rebellious person, but I also like to follow the rules. And so this is a thing, for me. I want to follow the rules and do what I'm supposed to do. But
what rules?
But
What
as soon
are
as
rules?
someone tells me what to do, I want to do the opposite.
Sure.
Insane.
But like on this giant ball of dirt, what are the rules? Did Genghis Khan follow the rules?
No.
Did Jesus follow the rules?
No.
I'm saying, like, both people had massive impact and created massive legacies and manifested whatever the hell they wanted, but it wasn't by following the rules. And so what are the rules? And like, do you want to live an unquestioned, unexamined life where you just do what people have been telling you since you were a kid? This is most people's excuse. No. Why don't you manifest well? Why don't you work late at night? Why don't you experiment with your activity levels? Well, people have been telling me for years that blah, 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 blah. It's like, if this is your defense, this is your like argument, this is your excuse for not digging your hands into life, putting them in the clay and like experimenting and finding out what works for you, I don't know what to tell you, man. Like, that's your choice, I guess. If you could come to Earth and spend decades doing what you have been told, or you could experiment for yourself and see what is really what in this world of ours. That's it. So
seriously, more people need to experiment, because I bet if I asked 100 people or even 1,000 people, do you want to live your life following what everyone else wants for you? The majority of people are going to say, hell no. But they do. They do. We say no, and then we do what they want.
Yeah. They don't experiment with their diet or their eating times. They eat when they've been told. They don't experiment with their sleep times or sleep durations. They sleep when they've been told. They don't experiment with the careers they could have, the paths, career paths. They take society-improved jobs, things they've been told. They don't experiment with their kinks or their sexuality or their sexual life force or their transmutation. They how they've been told. They don't experiment with their fashion or their image, right? They just dress how they've been told, what's appropriate. They follow all of the rules.
Yeah.
And so, I mean, what am I supposed to say, man? You have all this freedom, all this willpower. You have all this abundance, all these options that you can do with your life. You could sleep a different way than anyone else, eat a different way than anyone else, dress a different way than anyone else, screw a different way than anyone else. You could create a career or a life path that blows people's minds. You could create a giant empire or a legacy. And all your heroes did that. But they didn't do it by following the rules or doing what they've been told since the beginning of life or the beginning of time or whatever. Like, they did it by experimenting and finding their own way and their own path and being open to the consequences and getting out of their comfort zones and growing and evolving and putting old ways behind them and dying daily to be reborn in a new way, to like approach things in a new way. And if you're going to keep approaching business the same way you always do without experimenting or adjusting those 3 errors we talked about, you're going to get the same results you've always gotten. And this applies to everybody. Like, yeah, I don't know. It just seems obvious. I'm not even sure what I'm supposed to say.
No, well, I 100% agree. And I've been there where I knew what to do. I knew what I should do, or I knew what's best for me, and I still did the other thing. So that was my choice, and I choose not to do that anymore. And so I hope that more people will look at what we're saying and experiment with this, because you might be thinking we went off track on law of attraction, but this is very much a part of it. This is it. If you are not following your heart and you're doing what you love and doing what your intuition tells you to do, your gut feeling, then you're going against what you really want, and you're putting resistance out there into your manifestation. And I know 100% that's why that I struggle manifesting in business, because I have these weird resistances and I have this torn energy about certain topics within business.
Yeah, and it comes down to guts, like you just mentioned, gut feeling.
Yeah.
Well, the world has a guts shortage, a guts problem. Like, we have a guts drought. You don't need to be crazy smart to succeed or to manifest. You don't need to be crazy talented or crazy beautiful to succeed or manifest. You don't need to have huge amounts of time or be youthful to manifest. You don't have to be old and wise to manifest. Anyone can do this at any time, in any area, in any circumstance. We all have access to it permanently, forever, eternally. It is the internal human potential and power forever. And we're always blown away when someone from humble beginnings with tons of disadvantages somehow manifests the great life that they want. It's like they're just showing you we can all do it, no matter what your crappy circumstances are. And it doesn't take anything except courage, guts. You have to step outside your comfort zone and stop listening to the voices you've been listening to for decades and actually follow your own path and do your own thing. Consequences be damned. You have to experiment and try new things. And experiments are new. They are when you I don't know what's going to happen. I'm going to walk into the unknown and try this new thing. You have to try staying up, or try having less action, or try having more action, or try manifesting a different way, or try meditating, or try dancing, or try balancing your chakras, or try some weird Tibetan chant or a mantra, or experiment with sound, or experiment with taste, or experiment with something else. You have to try a different career or a different path. You just got to follow your heart to whatever it says next. And sometimes they're really small experiments, like close my door and don't talk to my family for an hour. It's like, will the world end? Will they all die? Will the cops be called? I don't know. It's an experiment. Maybe they will. But if the cops do come, I'll be ready for it. I'll tell them I was meditating in my room for an hour. I'm sorry I didn't hear the knock. It's you've got to have guts and courage to evolve and grow. There is no growth and evolution without guts and courage. They're directly related. And so you show me a world of gutless cowards with no courage who can't even get a drink of water or stop doom scrolling when their heart is telling them. They're scared to ruffle a single feather or change a single routine or experiment with a single new approach or habit. I'll show you a world of people who stagnate and wither and die, and they're basically not living. They're just dying slowly. And it's really easy to get on a new track. It's really easy to start manifesting a great life. It just takes practicing courage and practicing guts and practicing following your gut. And all the people you look up to got the hang of that early and kept doing it. So you can be like them, or you can be like everybody else.
Well, I'm tired of being like everyone else. So I'm psyched to be more like them.
Yeah, well, I've been following my gut and role modeling it for you as much as I can. So
you've done an amazing job. And I'm an amazing creator and manifester. We had together, especially when we, I call us the Wonder Twins, because when we activate our manifestation together, it's amazing the things that we create together. It would blow people's minds. So one of the things you mentioned that I want to touch on too is circumstances, right? And so a lot of times, me included, people will say, but I am in a bad environment, or I don't have money, or I don't have this, or I don't have that, or I'm in a third world country, or there's always circumstances that people can point to for why they can't manifest around it, or they focus on the negative part of the circumstance. So can you give us some tips on what to do when we have some sort of circumstances like this in our business or in our life in general? Because it doesn't matter. This really is for any kind of manifestation, but we are focused on business. So we don't have customers, we don't have clients, we don't have investment or investors, and we are venture capitalists or whatever. So how can we still manifest with these issues?
So 99% of the time, that's just bullshit excuses. It's meaningless. And the person isn't even really interested in getting an answer.
Okay.
They just want a reason to stay comfortable, a reason to not be brave, a reason to avoid courage, a reason to not follow their gut, and a reason to stay how they are. You can tell this because no matter how many answers you give them, they will keep coming up with another circumstance that is preventing it forever, infinitely. And with the internet and AI and all of these things, anyone can just Google people who have overcome that circumstance and every other circumstance. I was born without limbs. I can't succeed. Google Nick Vujicic, right?
Yeah.
Oh, I was born poor. I can't succeed. Google some developing nation kid invented some new thing and is now super rich or whatever. I get judged and shamed for my beauty or my curves or my boobs or my assets or whatever. I guess I can't succeed. Google, oh, someone succeeded with that exact same issue. People won't let me succeed because I'm not the right ethnicity or race. Google, oh, Eminem, like, or Rosa Parks or whatever it is. It just any circumstance you can name has already been conquered by tons of people.
Fair enough.
So if anyone really cared, if they were like, oh, this circumstance is holding me back, it's like, do a little research, type a Google search or two, lift a fucking finger, and you'll see your excuses are junk and meaningless. And human potential has overcome everything that's ever existed. The Wright brothers, Roger Bannister, like Nikola Tesla. I don't care, Edison, whoever you like or care about or look up to, or any hero you want to research. You can't research these people's stories and come away with the lesson like, I guess circumstances really do limit me. The only takeaway is, damn, human being potential is insane and infinite. I can manifest anything under any conditions. People have done it before me. People will do it after me. And I can't believe I ever use it as an excuse.
Clip number 2, ladies and gentlemen.
The truth is, we all have everything we need inside us.
I mean, I am missing one thing.
Oh my God.
I love you.
I'll leave it in.
Please. I like that.
Oh my God.
Okay. Well, seriously, that was epic, right? So I brought up circumstances because there are people around me that always will throw some circumstance at me. And I feel like I should walk around with a tennis racket, just trying to deflect them and throw it back at them all the time, because I have manifested in some really crappy ass circumstances where another person would be like, there is no way you'll get out of this. And I've manifested thousands of dollars falling in my lap when I had nothing. I've manifested clients when we ran out of money. 6 clients in a week. I've manifested, oh, you need a $1,500 for rent. Oh, here's a client that's going to pay you $1,500 a month. I've manifested, oh, we're moving. Oh, here's a check. Oh, and here's a client's giving you $3,000. Oh, and here's another client giving you another $3,000. Like, what? I have manifested in horrible circumstances. And so for me, circumstances, I really don't focus too much on this because of my track record. But there are times that in the back of my head that it's like, yeah, but if you had this or you didn't have that, or if you were still in Toronto or you were in New York or blah, 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 blah. But it's all crap. It's my brain just trying to save me for some weird reason from success and the things I actually want.
No, it's saving you from experimenting with the unknown and being brave and getting out of your comfort zone and trying a new thing.
So it really, that voice it's trying to protect me from the unknown.
Yeah.
But the unknown is where the good stuff is.
I know.
Into the unknown, right? Yeah. Even Brendan Urie knows that you have to go into the unknown to get what you want. So I'm really glad that we talked about that. None of this, as was in my notes, to talk about at all, just so we're aware.
Technically, we have everything inside us. Technically, everything is known. Our soul already knows it. That's why putting your mind aside and your intellect aside and taking leaps into the unknown is where everyone gets their major growth and their major wins. And if you read everybody's stories and biography, it's always, 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 I didn't know what was going to happen, and I took a leap of faith. I didn't know what was going to happen, and I took a leap of faith. I'm not religious, but I had to trust in something. Steve Jobs says, trust in karma, life, your destiny, something, but you have to trust that the dots will connect when all's said and done. And he knew. Like, they all know. Everyone knows. You read the story, and it's like, have courage, have guts, step into the unknown, experiment more with your life, see where you can grow, try new things, get out your comfort zones, and that's where the magic happens. There's a little meme with the comfort zone, and it says the magic is out here. That's where the magic happens.
Yes.
It's true. Like, the law of attraction is just guiding you to things that it already knows will satisfy your desires. Your intuition is just guiding you to things that it already knows will satisfy your desires. It's trying to guide you. And the only thing that stops anybody is, but it's the unknown and I'm scared and I don't have courage and I don't have guts.
Okay, so I have a question. You said that the universe knows, and so it guides us to the unknown because we don't know, right? So does that mean...
We do know. Our soul knows.
Well, that's what
our intellect doesn't know.
Okay, so this is where my question is. So the universe knows, so it guides us to the unknown for us, right? Our brain doesn't know what's going to happen, how we're going to get the thing. We want this like amazing, huge thing, this thing that we don't have, but our brain doesn't know how we're going to get it, but the universe does. And so is it true that our soul, we won't desire anything that isn't meant for us? Because if the universe already knows that this is meant for us, our brain doesn't, but our soul knows.
Yeah, this isn't about fate. This is about when you intend something, the universe plots a path to it for you.
Right. But will the universe not even give us the desire for that plot, that path, if we didn't really want it in our soul? Maybe not meant for us. I don't want it to sound like fate. Thanks for pointing that out, because that's not what law of attraction is about. It's not about fate. It's about something we created, right? So if I have a desire to live in Florida with you in our own home, this is a desire that I have because my soul knows it's possible for me to have, even if my brain doesn't know the path exactly that I'm going to take to get there today. I hope I made sense. I just want to be clear.
So first of all, we covered fate versus free will in the purpose episode, number 84, I think. But we haven't talked about desire, which is a major, major, major deal in navigating life and law of attraction and manifesting well.
Right.
So we talked about action levels or activity levels, and we can dive deep into desire now if you want. The basic thing you're getting at is, if we have a desire, does that mean it's automatically satisfied? Like, does the universe automatically have a path to it?
Yeah. Yes.
Right. And basically, yes. If you have a desire, everything that is necessary to fulfill that desire has already been established, done, created, ready, waiting, etc. And the fun of life and the journey of life is using your intuition to follow your guidance to the unfolding and blossoming and blooming of that desire, right? It's not about getting the car or getting the wife or getting the client. It's the fun journey to getting it, the unfolding of the story, who you became along the way, how it eventually happened. Then you look back and you're like, wow, I actually got that thing I desired. This is how it always goes. And getting the desire can satisfy you for a bit. It's like still good to get it, of course, but that's not really what life is all about. If life was all about that, there would be no growing and gestation period and unfolding period. And
no, we would get things like I Dream a Genie.
Yeah, exactly. And people would be practicing that and trying to do it more and more often. But not even Jesus did that. Buddha didn't do that. Nobody does that. Why would they? It sounds boring and dumb. Like it's the worst idea of life I could think of. Like, what?
No, the only time that I want something like that instant is maybe if I'm thirsty or I have to use the washroom, like those kinds of instant. But like the journey of, and even that, like the journey of going there and walking through the house and petting the cat or whatever is more fun than actually using the washroom. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So that makes a lot of sense. I think we hear that a lot, the cliche of the journey is the
destination,
the destination or whatever, the reward. Yeah. But it's true.
Yeah. It's a cliche for a reason. People say it for a reason. It's been said forever for a reason. That doesn't mean every cliche is always right. But I'm saying there's a reason and you might want to pay attention to it.
It's a cliche for a reason, for sure.
So basically, if you have a desire, the universe already has a path to it, and likely multiple paths.
That was my next question.
But you may never get it if you fight, resist, have the wrong activity levels. Every time you're faced with a choice that takes courage, you opt for comfort and safety and routine. Like, this is not, the path is never there. The path is never in bland stagnation, boring comfort, old routine, doing the same things, never trying something new, avoiding your intuition, avoiding the voice of your heart, right? The path always lies in courage and guts. It always lies in stepping out of your comfort zone. And every hero you read about took leaps, many leaps of faith to get to where they are. So no one's exempt from this. Not the world's best, not the world's worst, nobody. This is how life works. Law of attraction requires you to grow and evolve outside of your comfort zones to get the things you want. There is a cost to everything you want, every desire you have, and that cost is courage or bravery. or gut.
Clip number 3. Oh, good. I'm serious. That's really good. Because how many people are like, oh, I can't get this, or I deserve this and I have to do that. But what you just said, like, this is brilliant. Thank you. Thank you so much.
Yeah, the cost isn't always action or even usually action. The cost is guts.
What was the
and
cost
growth.
for you to get out of homelessness?
I had to have the courage to say, screw the world, screw society, screw productivity, screw everything I've ever been taught. I'm going to embrace homelessness. I'm never going to hustle or grind again. I'm sick of this. I'm happy to die here on a homeless bench. I'm happy to die of starvation. I'm happy to have no legacy to my name and be unremembered. I have the courage to embrace all of this bullshit and own it. And you can etch it on my tombstone, owned his homelessness and stopped trying to get out. Like, when I made that mental adjustment and embodied that new attitude, that's when things turned around for me. And it took the most courage ever, because I was raised to be a hyper efficient, hyper productive, overperformer, overachiever, who was in the gifted program with a high IQ, and I was raised on flashcards, and I had a photographic memory, and I outperformed everybody, and I had to abandon my entire life identity. Everything I believed in is the biggest 180 you've ever seen on the planet for this to happen. So what was the cost? In action? Not much. I laid on a bench for 36 hours is the least action I've ever taken.
Exactly.
But what was the cost in my courage? Insane.
Yeah.
I had to be the bravest I've ever been and step outside of my comfort zone the farthest I've ever stepped.
Yeah.
And even recently, like, the reason we're even still together is I got way outside my comfort zone, where I usually don't give up on people, and I usually don't break up with people, and I usually don't walk away from people. And I do my best to work with them and cooperate and find harmony and find some kind of agreement. And for me to say, you know what? This person just isn't for me, and I will not be vibrating or matching with them unless something changes, was a huge step outside of my comfort zone.
It was?
Yeah. And I it's annoying that I got pushed to it, but life was pushing me to it over and over. I just took too long to do it. Like, I resisted it. But if I took the courageous step sooner, we would be ahead further and faster, and we wouldn't have wasted all these years. Like, it's fine. Like, I mean, not wasted, but you get what I'm saying. The point is, usually the cost for getting your desires is some kind of courageous choice or multiple courageous choices. And this is why people don't get what they want. They have their desire. The universe plots a path for them, multiple paths for them, and they could get on that path and start marching towards it ASAP, like super quick. But the first step or second step or third step takes too much courage for them. So they just go back to their routines. They go back to their safety comfort zones, and they don't change.
Well, for me, the cost for me to have what I want, which is to be with you, most people would look at the situation I was in. I was sitting in a cluttered apartment. I'm supposed to leave in like 3 or 4 days. No one's taken anything. I had $30 in my hand, and I have a bank account, and I have a ticket to Toronto. Most people would be like, oh my God, you're going to go to Toronto and be homeless. And I was like, nope, I got this. And I could have easily focused on their circumstances, and I had to have courage as well. I had to just believe. I knew everything was going to work out. There was zero doubt. And that day, 3 days before I moved to Toronto, I got $3,000 just landed in my lap.
Yeah, so the cost to you wasn't extra action. You didn't have to run around and hustle and grind. The cost to you was to relax.
Yes.
And stop taking action and stop hustling and panicking and trust the universe and take a leap and let that manifest for you. And so the same goes for business. Like, maybe the cost is to change your activity levels, or maybe the cost is to focus on beautification more, and that you meet a beauty influencer and you get a client that way. Like, weird things can happen, or maybe the cost is to balance your time better, schedule better, or the cost is to like work outside the home or follow your intuitions to some other place. Like, I don't know. The cost might be action. It might be courage, likely both, but I don't know. Only you know. But your heart and your inner voice and your inner guidance is talking to you, and it's trying to tell you in every moment what's going to take you to your desire. It knows the path, but it's a lot of unknowns. It's not even just one unknown. It's probably multiple unknowns. And every time you embrace those unknowns, you inch closer to your desire. It starts to blossom and bloom. You're getting close to it, and the universe is going to bring it to you. And every time you fight those unknowns or resist them or run from them or avoid them or fear them, and you fail to meet them with courage, guts, and bravery, then you're shrinking your life, and the law of attraction can't help you.
Facts. That was beautiful. Clip 4, you guys. And they're all so good. You're so amazing. We literally didn't even get to one of the questions that I had because this was wonderful. Okay, so I have another question that's kind of different from what we were talking about. But so we talk a lot about mental health and improving it and things. But what about people whose mental health is not that great? Can you still manifest if your mental health isn't tip top?
Since manifestation is just creating a desired experience, it can be done in different ways with different levels, employing different resources, right? If you want a drink of water, you don't really have to apply the steps of manifestation. You can just take action and get the water and come back. And you're like, yeah, law of attraction had nothing to do with that. I just used action and got water. And if I want a new client, I could cold DM 100 people and I will get one client out of those 100 people. And it's true. Like, your action is one way to manifest things, but it's a very baby way of manifesting. It's very limited. It's not how you get the big moves. It's not how your heroes did it. It's draining. It's a hustle and a grind, and it's a lot of work if you're trying to control life with your action and manifest your desired reality just through action. And so most people who try this get burnt out and miserable and start to realize that there's something more. There's got to be a better way. But it usually takes them like 40 years of just action to wake up and be like, maybe there's more. Maybe some do it at 30, maybe some do it at 50, whatever.
It usually takes a long time though, yeah.
Yeah. Some people do it super early, but most people spend 40 years thinking they're going to control their world and create the desired reality through action. But action is just like a minor role. We all obsess about it because we live in a physical world where there's actions everywhere. So it's very obvious and in front of us, and we'll might as well focus on what's in front of us. But the bigger powers are more invisible. So some people realize that our physical body and the actions we take aren't the only way to manifest. And they realize there's more to it, like our mind, our imagination, our focus, our intention, our mindset, our beliefs, our affirmations, and these kind of things. It's a little more intangible. It's a little less visible, a little less obvious, but a little more powerful. So, they're 40 and they're like, there's something more than this action thing. I want to study mindset and affirmations and beliefs and limiting beliefs. And they start to manifest better because it's just more powerful. Your mind and your imagination is a more powerful tool than physical bodily action. Even the people you look up to, like Bruce Lee, the physical specimens, Serena Williams, or Michael Jordan, or athletes like that, LeBron James, they all know too. Like, dude, action is good, and I love performing, and I love being physically fit and athletic, but man, the victories I'm getting and the gains I'm making and the improvements I'm making are mostly mental. And I really got to work on my mindset. And the reason I outperform all these other athletes is because of my mindset. And they know the mind is way more high leverage than trying to control your world with action. And so they become very fanatical about their mental health, and they watch their thoughts, and they watch their beliefs, and they study these things and self-help and personal development, and they work on their mind. They watch Tony Robbins and practice all this stuff, and then they get better results. But the people who get the most mind-blowing results, the people who transcend everything, the Jesuses, the Genghis Khans, like the Cleopatras, Alexander the Greats, just the world-dominating people, really, who just outperform anyone in anything. Like they're clearly not doing it with an action and just a physical thing. They're clearly using something more than mind, because this is unfathomable, like what these people have accomplished.
That video you sent me yesterday, Tony Robbins talks about Andre Agassi.
Right. That's an example, though, of just mindset. Like, he's not Jesus level, not Buddha level.
No.
So what were Buddha and Jesus trying to teach everyone? They were trying to teach everyone that, action plays a role, and yes, have good beliefs, but there's something more and something deeper. And this is the energy aspect of law of attraction. This is the spiritual aspect of law of attraction. Oh, and I didn't even mention the nervous system aspect, like emotions and feelings, and where we trap trauma in our bodies and block energy and so on, because emotions are just energy in motion, and every thought we have mentally brings with it an emotion. They go hand in hand. They're paired up.
Right.
It's rare that a thought is just neutral with no emotion. There's always some emotion.
Right.
If I say, a nickel or a dime or a quarter, you have a certain emotion. Even small things like that, you're like, vaguely positive about it.
Right.
If I say debt, then you all have a different emotion. But someone like Trump or Elon Musk might have a very positive emotion about debt. They use debt well and they leverage debt to create great things. And the common man, the average person, might have a very negative emotion about debt. And this all has to do with feelings and emotions and your nervous system and so on. And so I apologize for not mentioning that when I was discussing mental health, but I was really excited to move on to the bigger, grander, greater leverage that people have and that they rarely tap into, which is that energetic aura, right? You can measure it now. Like science has gotten a handle on this. We have electromagnetic fields around every human and they grow and contract and we can control them and change them. And Wim Hof changes his and Joe Dispenza changes his. And when people change those energetic fields, that's when the crazy, mind-blowing results happen. But it's not just when you change those things. It's when your spirit and your mind and your nervous system and your body, your actions are all aligned. That alignment is where you get the magic. When all your energy systems are aligned, your glands are aligned, your cells are aligned. And so this goes beyond mental health. Like mental health is great to get you to the Andre Agassi level. But if you want the truly miraculous results in a fast, impressive way, that comes from well-performed alignment for a prolonged, sustained period. And this is where the meditation and the dance comes in, these kind of spiritual, transcendent activities that most people avoid because they're way caught up in physical action or nervous system stuff or mental mindset stuff, like I was for so many years. And it's like, those are only part of the puzzle. And there's a much bigger piece waiting to be discovered. But usually people have to go through phases and they focus on action for a few decades and they focus on mindset for a few decades. They focus on nervous system for a few decades. And like later in life, they finally come around to spirituality and chakras and energy and electromagnetism and auras and fields and these kind of super intangible things. And so you see people get obsessed with the most tangible things and they neglect the hidden invisible things. And even as they discover some hidden invisible things, they kind of stop there. But eventually, when you get a handle on all of these things and align them well, that's when you get the super law of attraction magic and the mastery that all of the great enlightened masters have and use. And so even people who are doing well in their life right now will find benefit as they dig deeper into this kind of alignment.
I agree. And I think actually the people who have a lot of success and have done a lot of the action manifestation part, they don't realize how important, like a lot of them want to take it to the next level and want to but they don't know where to go because a lot of those people tend to feel that those intangible things that we need to work on, the energy, the aura and just our happiness in general, that this starts to feel woo-woo. And I think this is where people, they learn about the law of attraction and they look at it and they start going, this is about my feelings and this is about like auras and energy. And now we're headed into the weird hippie stuff. But this is not true. This is just like if you walk into a room after two people have been fighting, they're not even talking and you can feel it and you know. And like you said, science has proven that we're all made of energy. You can see this information. So I think a lot of people get stuck at that point. I did in the beginning. I was like, this is a little out there, but I was also having an intense spiritual awakening at the same time as I was learning all this stuff. And so for me, I was way more open to it. But yeah, I love all of this. You are amazing and you are super helpful. And I think the more I think especially if you're very action oriented, if you really want to continue to do the things like me, and it's only in business that I feel like this, this is where we need to really focus on those intangible things. So if you're out there and you're listening and you want to take action all the time and you're not getting to where you want to go, you're not manifesting the things you want, why don't you and I just stop doing the action stuff and focus on our feelings, our energy, and it sometimes, to me, and maybe someone out there listening can resonate, sometimes it feels like, and I'm doing it in quotes because I know it's not true, is a waste of time to just sit there and daydream, basically, right? But it's not, because I know, like I said in the beginning, I know how this can work out. And it worked out for you. You beat homelessness basically by daydreaming. And I was able to clean up my life by doing the same. Really, I sat in that hospital bed after that overdose. They made me stay there 2 days. And for 2 days, I just fantasized about having a normal, clean life with my children, like over and over and over again. And that's exactly what I got, at least in the beginning when I got clean, So you are an incredible teacher.
Thanks. And the same applies for any hero you want to look up. Just type your favorite celebrity space law of attraction into YouTube, or your favorite celebrity space manifestation, and you're going to find some clips of them talking about this exact thing. I used my imagination and I dreamed it into reality and yada, yada, yada. It's like boring to me. Every single celebrity says this, every single one. So how long does it take for people to learn? Like how many people do you need to succeed and say this and teach this and try to share their way to success with you before you wake up, put your obsession with action and hustle and grind aside and actually try and apply this stuff? When do you experiment with your own life? When do you realize, like, man, my approach has not been working for me? Like, it took me decades. Hopefully it takes other people less. But if you want to take just as long, take a 40 years before you realize how it works or whatever, that's up to you. In the medieval times, people would have thought electricity was woo-woo magic. And so they would close themselves off to it. They'd run away in terror from someone bringing electricity. And it's like, this could revolutionize your whole civilization. You're running from it. And the same happens now. We're all obsessed with action. Everyone thinks energy is woo-woo and they don't want to do law of attraction work or meditation work. It's just a waste of time. And so they run from it. And it's like, this could revolutionize your civilization. Okay, we'll run from it, just like the medieval people ran from electricity. Like, it's whatever, man. Everyone has all of the power and potential inside them available to them. All the answers are here. All it takes is tuning into your intuition, your heart. It's already telling you what's right. All your heroes have been trying to teach you this. And like, it's up to you whether you step out with courage and experiment with it and explore it, or stay in your comfort zones, dismissing it and brushing it off with intellectual skepticism.
Yeah, and I'm glad that you mentioned those celebrities because they talk about it all the time. Ariana Grande has songs about it, and even in her most recent album, her song "Yes," and she's got a line that says, my tongue is sacred. I speak what I like."
Yeah, they
Right?
all say it.
I'm glad you mentioned that because there's literally thousands of them out there doing this, and the info, the videos and interviews are all out there for you to find. You are super helpful and loving and kind. This was an amazing episode. I definitely opened my eyes to what I'm doing more, and I have improved my wanting to do action things, but I really need to improve. So if you are listening and watching and you feel similar, it's okay. We got this. And if you want to share about it in the comments, I'm happy to talk about it. If you want to email me, feel free, sin@jrise.me, and let's talk about it in private or public, whatever. Let's hold each other accountable. And for now, I'm going to hold myself accountable because I did not share my beautiful, wonderful book with you called Eyes Wide Open, Volume 1. It is the world's first self-help coffee table book, and we are giving away free PDF copies. Go to eyeswideopenfree.com and get your free copy, and you will also get a bonus called How to Heal the 7 Deadly Mentals or something similar like that. It's it's so good. It's really good. And you also sign up for our newsletter, which is fire every single week. And I say that because I write it.
Yes. And if you want to attract this beautiful book into your life, imagine it sitting on your coffee table. Imagine clicking purchase. Imagine it shipping to you. Imagine having it and turning the pages with a nice cup of coffee. And that way, you're using some of your mental ability to align with it, and your emotional nervous system can align with it. And eventually, you'll take the actions that align with it. And if you really want to go big, you can align your entire energetic field with this reality, and you will have the book, or don't.
All of you. You can manifest it for free or you can manifest it paid. Either way, you can have it. Well, thank you so much for an amazing episode. You are wonderful. This episode could have a 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12 million parts. Literally. We could talk about law of attraction all day long. I only asked one question, one question, you guys, and we had this incredible conversation. So, Jay, thank you as usual for being a wonderful light, an incredible teacher, and for showing us all the way to have a more amazing life and manifesting exactly what we want. Thank
Thank
you.
you for your beautiful self, too.
Oh, you're the best. So, I have one last question. Do you have any final thoughts that you would like to share with our amazing and wonderful audience?
Yes, you have thousands of decision points served up to you by life every day. What you do with your time, what you do with your moments, when you change, when you adjust, when you adapt, just countless decisions. And the universe has everything you want lined up for you. It's just waiting for you to be more courageous and brave and gutsy with your choices. It's waiting for you to play bigger and get out of your comfort zones. So please do that. We need that. You need that. It will be the biggest reward you'll ever get, and you will never again question or hesitate with your intuition. You will learn to follow it and trust it and be convicted in it. And that conviction will bring results, and your life will blossom into everything you want. I promise. You got this.
And that's why our book and this podcast are called Eyes Wide Open. After today, you will understand more about law of attraction in your business and your life, and lots of other amazing things on about how to manifest. So now you can go to this video here that you just manifested called Law of Attraction, the 5 reasons that you are doing it wrong, to help you manifest better and to help you keep your eyes wide open.
Keep rising.